the 16th century. From all over Europe, great ships sail west to conquer the new world, the Americas. The men eager to seek their fortune, to find new adventures in new lands. They long to cross uncharted seas and discover unknown countries, to find secret gold on a mountain trail high in the Andes. They dream of following the path of the setting sun that leads to El Dorado and the mysterious cities of gold.
And then begins that iconic theme. It's mad how catchy 80s cartoon themes were, isn't it? Anyway, this is the game of Mysterious Cities of Gold, a title that most CBC watchers would have liked back in the late 80s heyday, thank you very much, as I covered in this short some time back. And the peak of its popularity was in the late 80s. It's a surprise it never got a game on the 8-bit computers. But I would imagine, no doubt, it would have been snapped up by alternative software or high-tech if they had anything about them and a generic platform would have come out. But can you imagine what a post-Robocop Ocean would have done with it? Yes, platform levels, but how about puzzle levels set in the city and a vertical shoot-'em-up in the Golden Condor? Imagine that! Thanks, old me. So this is that game, released on the Wii U, iOS, Android, PC and the Nintendo 3DS in 2013. So how come this crusty old 80s series had a video game that long after its viewership had grown old and got children, mortgages, significant others, Labradors, boring cars, planned trips to B&Q and a love of naps and a few extra holes in their belt? Well, the series only went and made a comeback, didn't it? Let's take a little look at the series on which this is based, because there might be people who aren't getting all nostalgic and misty-eyed for Andy Crane doing air guitar along with the credits. Mysterious Cities of Gold was a 39-episode animated epic commissioned by Studio Peru. It was a French-Japanese collaboration that originally aired in those countries in 1982, with it getting English dubbing 4 years later to be shown on Irish, American and British children's television shows, and it was very popular indeed, especially in the UK. Mysterious Cities of Gold tells the story of a Spanish orphan, Estevan, who joins the enigmatic Mendoza and his crew on a 1532 voyage to the new world of the Americas. Estevan holds some dim hope of finding his father, who, much like Mendoza, is planning to locate one of the mysterious 7 cities of gold. On their way, they are joined by Zaya, an Inca girl, and Teo, the last descendant of a technologically advanced race called the Mu, or the Heaver, depending on which version you watched. The Mu were not only responsible for building the eponymous mysterious cities, but also several solar-powered vehicles, such as the series' iconic Golden Condor aircraft. Encountering all manner of dangers on their way, including villainous fellow treasure hunters and the mutant Olmecan survivors of the Great War between the races that wiped out their technologically advanced predecessors. The episodic nature of the show was compulsive viewing, with each of the heroes given agency and room to develop. It was this structure that made it a country mile better than the likes of Masters of the Universe. In retrospect, go back and watch one of those, they haven't aged as well as this. The series ended with Mendoza and his crew with a fair amount of bounty, and the children determined to locate the other 6 cities. And then nothing. Until 2012, when the series returned 30 years late, because you can't leave us hanging for those other 6 cities. The series has been a success, as after the returning run took us to the Chinese City of Gold, a 3rd series was commissioned in 2016 that has moved the quest for yellow metal metropoli to Japan, and a 4th series came out in 2020, which has the crew titting around in Africa. I'd get a bit bored eventually of looking at these cities, wouldn't you? Once you've seen one city of gold, surely you've seen all the cities of gold. Still, Estevan and his gang seem to enjoy it. A 5th series is in the works, and they're probably going to be releasing it in 2024 or 2025, just going by how the other series have come out. The video game came out as a tie-in with the Phoenix-like resurrection of the 2nd series in 2013. Mysterious Cities of Gold: The Secret Path was originally planned only for the Nintendo and mobile phone systems by French developer Yanis Interactive. After a concerted effort by Aging Nerds for a PC version and an English dubbed version, Yanis launched a Kickstarter which ended up being very successful, clearing its $30,000 target in less than a month. The Wii U, the 3DS and PC versions were released complete, but the phone versions were released episodically. Only the PC and 3DS versions were released as a physical format. Where is my iPhone cartridge, you Philistines? I want to plug things into my phone. Mysterious Cities of Gold: The Secret Path is a point-and-click puzzle game with stealth elements, although you can play it with a controller if you're so inclined. Scenes from the cartoon bookend each of the levels. The player is tasked with controlling the 3 main characters from the series: Estevan, Zaya and Teo. If you need an adult to pop up and explain things, well, Mendoza is on hand to give you advice. Using their individual abilities and teamwork across the multiple levels will be the only way for the children to get through this venture, so they had better get on and share their toys. It's a fairly solid and simple adventure, this. Forward planning and logical thinking should see you get through the game's 30 levels pretty effectively, with multiple playthroughs perhaps required to get all the optional collectibles. Estevan and his medallion are required to operate specific ancient solar-activated devices. Teo has the ability to decipher messages written by his ancestors, and he has a key-stealing parrot. And Zaya, well, she's relegated to fitting through narrow passages, presumably as they couldn't figure out what to do with her. She's literally got the same frame as her boy chums, though. Poor old Zaya. Still, it works with the puzzles, which a lot of the time will involve positioning the children and the stones they find on the levels in various buttons in order to open doors, gain access to scrolls, treasure chests, and later parts of the level. Skulking around the place are a bunch of pirates, and you'll need to avoid their gaze like you're a prepubescent solid snake. It's a touch limited in terms of the AI of its villains, but they're more a bit of a bigger puzzle for the most part. While the puzzles start off as simply as putting on a pair of trousers, they get more and more devious as you go on, and may require a few attempts to get through. They're designed, though, to be completable by children, so expect nothing too devious. Think some of the Zelda dungeons, they're a bit like that. The game is visually pretty simple and close to identical on all formats it's on, although I must admit that I only played the 2 available versions in 2023, those being the 3DS and PC ones. The isometric perspective, while nothing flashy, gives the game a clean look and lends itself to the puzzle room nature pretty well. If there's a fault against the game, it's probably that it never really changes. The 30 stages largely have the same format, just increasing in size and complexity by adding more switches, more crawl-throughs and more pirates. It's a challenge and it will get your brain working, but you may also find that your brain starts wandering a bit as it gets a bit boring as it goes on. The backgrounds may change, but the game, well, the core remains the same. So is it a hidden treasure or fool's gold? In truth, it's somewhere in the middle. Not Elizabeth Duke, but certainly not a posh concession stand in Harrods. Nintendo Life reviewed it in March 2014 and gave it a 7 out of 10. They said of it that it's a simple, repetitive adventure, but it has enough colour and charm to make it worth consideration for less experienced or younger gamers. It got a 48% in the official Nintendo magazine in their issue 103. They stated that something's wrong when the characters being hunted by murderous pirates are having more fun than the person playing. A good idea, wasted. Well, I don't think it's as bad as that personally, but we shall have to see what it's like to be the pirate rather than those hunted by the pirates, as in the next episode we are going to be playing the Pirates of Dark Water. Ooh. Like, subscribe. Okay, thanks, bye.